3, 2, 1, you're good.
Well, namaste. On behalf of the ACT Party, I'm David Seymour, and this is Brooke van Velden, our Deputy Leader, Health, Foreign Affairs and Housing Spokesperson. And we've just had a great working lunch with the legendary Venkat Raman and the crew from Indian Newslink, as well as some of their associates. And some of the things we've been talking about is the enormous cost of living crisis that is squeezing people up and down New Zealand. No matter what walk of life you're from, chances are you're feeling it. And we've been pointing out that the number one things the government could do is first of all cut tax so people can keep more of the money they earn to fight those rising prices. And ACT's tax policy, released in our fully costed alternative budget for real change, would let someone on $70,000, for example, maybe a nurse in the mid-range, keep another $2,300 per year to help deal with those price increases. But we've got to do other things. The government's got to stop spending so much money generally. It's got to stop printing so much money. And we've got to end this expensive ideological experiment Labor called their immigration reset, because all it's done is break the promise made to generations of people who came to this country that New Zealand is open, friendly and welcoming by pulling up the drawbridge. And it's driven up prices by starving businesses of workers. You see it everywhere. So ACT says we've got to accept we're a nation of immigrants, get rid of crazy rules such as requiring every employer to do a labour market test for every hire, get rid of the wage rules, and then put a bomb under Immigration New Zealand. And our goal is to make them issue visas with the same enthusiasm that banks will issue you a mortgage. You go in there, they'll hook you up straight away. Why doesn't Immigration New Zealand work as efficiently as them? That's our goal for immigration. Also, we've been having a lot of discussions about mental health and the way it affects the communities that make up New Zealand, including the South Asian communities. And for that, Brooke's our health spokesperson. She's been having a few things to say.
Yeah, well, we've had a wonderful discussion about mental health. You know, we spend around $2 billion every year on mental health in this country, and yet nobody is happy with the services that we get. And it's because the care is not targeted to people in the community to help provide a service that they can understand and is also culturally relevant to the way that they live their lives. We need far more provision of service that allows for more choice for people. We want to separate the money going to the Ministry of Health from the providing of the service. So at the moment, the government gives the Ministry of Health money. They then fund their own services with some community organisations. We want to change that model to say the money comes in, the organisation Mental Health and Addiction New Zealand is there to commission services that the community wants. That gives more choice to people throughout New Zealand and would also make sure it's being effectively spent. So there will be checks and balances on whether or not people are getting the right amount of funding, the right amount of care, and whether it's being effective and they're getting results. That's how we help people get the care that they need in the way that they can access it.
Another thing that came up that we won't talk about at length here is crime. You know, this government has got confused between victims and criminals. And ACT says it's the job of government to make sure that the victims are supported, the criminals are punished, and we don't get mixed up and start supporting the criminals more than the victims, which has been happening lately. We'll see some proper values brought back there. And finally, we've had a discussion about New Zealand's constitutional future. Is this a modern, multi-ethnic country, a liberal democracy with somewhere for everybody that's chosen to make this country home? Or is it some sort of experiment, a constitutional experiment with a tiriti-centric Aotearoa, with one set of rules for tangata whenua and one set of rules for tangata tiriti? ACT believes that New Zealand should be a modern, multi-ethnic, liberal democracy, somewhere that has a place for all. If those sound like the kinds of ideas that you might be interested in, then please check out what ACT stands for, and we hope to have a lot more content and articles in Indian Newslink as we build our relationship, not just with our long-time friend Venkat Raman, but also with the entire community of his growing readership.